What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Lions video. Now, the Detroit Lions have been extremely busy in this offseason with a lot of change and a lot of offseason moves taking place over the past couple of months. And in today's video, I wanted to kind of go over the top offseason moves, kind of recap everything, go over the best offseason moves the Detroit Lions have made, the best move overall that the Lions have made, and how each and every one of these moves impacts the franchise moving forward. So before we get into the video, if you're new to the channel, as always, please consider liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. It takes just 2 seconds out of your day to do so. It's quick, free, and easy, and you would be helping the channel out more than you could possibly know. So if you could do that, take those 2 seconds to like and subscribe, and maybe, just maybe, hit the bell notification so that you never miss an upload. I'd be greatly appreciative for it. However, with that being the case, and with all that being said, let's get right into the top offseason moves made this season by our Detroit Lions. Now, the moves I will be talking about today are going to be just strictly player acquisitions or player movement. So signings, cuts, trades, letting players walk, stuff like that. I didn't want to mention the front office stuff because we've talked about that a lot. And of course, a lot, if we were to do just simply the best offseason moves, including coaches and front office, it would be primarily that. So in this video, we're going to be talking just strictly about player movements. And with that being the case, at number 5, at the 5th best offseason move that we have made this offseason, I said the re-signing of pass rusher Romeo Okwara. Now, Romeo Okwara was a breakout season, had a breakout season for the Detroit Lions a year ago, and was arguably the Detroit Lions' best defensive player. He totaled 44 tackles for the Detroit Lions, had 11 tackles for loss, 14 quarterback hits, 10 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, as well as 1 safety recorded. Romeo Okwara ended up ranking 10th in the NFL in sacks and signed a 3-year deal worth upwards of $39 million. Now, Romeo Okwara, regardless of what some people may tell you, has been really good in Detroit. He has over, I believe, 19 sacks in his past 3 seasons. He had 7.5 his first year, had 10 last year, with just 1 down year in between, where his playing time was severely cut and was severely lacking. So when he's gotten time, when he's gotten ability and gotten the snap count, he has performed very, very well for the Lions over the past 3 years, and as I said, was awarded a 3-year contract with upwards of $39 million. Now, some people believe we did overpay for Romeo Okwara. However, the contract is simply not as bad as many people would have you believe. The cap hit this year is actually very minimal, and when you look at other pass rushers that were in top 10 in sacks or very close to that top 10 range, we ended up getting Romeo Okwara on a relatively solid deal. Trey Hendrickson signed with the Cincinnati Bengals for a 4-year, $60 million contract. Leonard Williams re-signed with the Giants for a 3-year, $63 million contract, and Shaq Barrett signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for a 2-year, $35 million contract. So the fact that we got a pass rusher that has shown that he can get double-digit sacks, a pass rusher that we have shown can be top 10 in the NFL in sack production for arguably one of the best contracts of the entire bunch, I figured it was a very good move. It returns a core player, it returns one of the most productive players from a season ago, and allows the Detroit Lions to keep both Okwara brothers here for 3 more years, and allows them to get a really good pass rusher, as I said, in Romeo Okwara. Now, for the 4th move, for the 4th best offseason move made by our Detroit Lions this offseason, I said it was the trading for Michael Brockers. Now, Michael Brockers is a 30-year-old defensive tackle from the Los Angeles Rams, and Brad Holmes decided that the defensive line depth on this team was not good enough, so he went out and acquired the veteran pass rusher and veteran defensive lineman. Now, the Lions ended up trading a 2023 7th-round pick for Michael Brockers, so you can't really give up much more than that for a veteran player, and a veteran player that is likely going to play at a high level for you. He is a new starter on the Detroit Lions defensive line. I would expect him to be a full-time starter at that defensive tackle position, likely rotating with John Pennicini and some of the other guys for playing time, and likely getting the start over a majority of those guys. Now, not only did we give up very little capital to acquire Michael Brockers, we also restructured his contract, I believe, to a 3-year, $24 million deal, which helps his cap space, which does not take up a lot of cap for the Detroit Lions, frees up even more cap space than he otherwise would have, although his contract wasn't incredibly bad to begin with, and really gives the Lions a new starter for very little capital, very little cap space, and the contract isn't bad. The trade value to get rid of him, or the trade value to acquire him, was not bad. He's going to be a starter, going to be hopefully a high-level starter for the Lions, and with the contract, with the capital given up to acquire a starting defensive lineman, the fact that he can still play for 2, if not 3 more years, all that together made it one of the better moves of the offseason. Now, the number 3 move of the offseason, the number 3 move that we will be talking about today, is actually not a signing or a trade or a cut. It is the decision to let Kenny Golladay walk in free agency. Now, Kenny Golladay has been a huge member of the Detroit Lions and has been a huge contributor to the Lions' success since he was drafted in the 2017 class. Now, Kenny Golladay deserved his money. Kenny Golladay earned a lot of money over his 4 years in Detroit, and although the Lions seemed willing to pay it, Kenny Golladay did not want to be here seemingly. Kenny Golladay publicly said he would want to return to Detroit. However, even with all the contracts that were offered, he declined each and every one, and it would have taken upwards of $20+ million a season just to keep Kenny Golladay around. Now, the Lions' biggest problem over the past couple of years has been overpaying for players. Of course, you got Big V, Desmond Trufant, Jamie Collins, a lot of guys that you overpaid for, a lot of guys that aren't quite living up to the contract that they signed. So the fact that they let Kenny Golladay walk, I think, is a good move in its own right. I think it's a good move in a vacuum because, of course, you're not overpaying for a wide receiver. You're not paying $20 million a season for a wide receiver that has been slightly injury prone in his 4 years and really not that he can be replaced easily, but a guy that at a position that you can get production out of no matter who is at the position. So I think that move in itself is a very good move, but what puts it at number 3 is the fact that it sends a message to Lions fans. It sends a message that they're not going to overpay, even if you're a homegrown talent, even if you're a guy that they brought up, even if they're a guy that you like, or even if you're a guy that they like, they're not going to overpay you. They know what value they want. They know the Lions front office knows exactly what they want to pay in contract, and they know exactly what they can handle as far as cap space, and it tells me that they're not going to overpay anymore for bad contracts. They're not going to give out bad contracts or overpay on players when they don't feel comfortable doing so, which is a step ahead of where Bob Quinn was a season ago, which is why it is the 3rd best move of the offseason. Now, the 2nd best move of the offseason is actually a combination of releases, and it is really just clearing up cap space, getting rid of a lot of the bad contracts that were brought in by Bob Quinn and by our former management. Now, the Detroit Lions have cut a lot of players this offseason, including former starting cornerback Desmond Trufant, including former starting linebacker Christian Jones, as well as backup quarterback Chase Daniel, along with a lot of other players, mostly former New England Patriot guys and mostly guys that the Quinn Tricia era brought in. Now, as I said, bad contracts really plagued the Lions over the past couple of seasons, and Brad Holmes' first order of duty, Brad Holmes' first executive order that he put together was getting rid of those bad contracts, getting rid of Desmond Trufant, getting rid of, Christian Jones, getting rid of Danny Shelton, getting rid of the contracts that were taking up cap space where the player was simply not worth the money. Now, with that being the case, the Lions have cleared up so much extra cap space. It has given them so much more flexibility to bring in better players, and of course, as I said, allows them to now have $22 million in cap as of the day of recording. So with that being the case, with the Lions having the audacity, with the Lions having the confidence to get rid of a lot of former starters, actually, Danny Shelton was there, you have Desmond Trufant was there, Christian Jones was there. There was a lot of players that got significant time a year ago that had been released by the Detroit Lions. So having the confidence to do that, having the confidence in yourself to build that team, and of course having the knowledge to know, if I get rid of these players, I'm going to have a chance to get better players in, I'm going to have a chance to clear this much cap space and put us in a much better situation financially as well as just overall team building ability. I think that in itself puts it at the 2nd overall spot. It has given the Lions so much more flexibility this offseason that it had to make the list and had to be very, very high. However, it was not as high as the number 1 move this offseason. And if you have been paying attention at all, you will likely know the number 1 move made by our Detroit Lions was the trading of Matthew Stafford. Now, this is not number 1 for the reason you may think. I am not jumping off the Stafford train. Stafford is still one of my favorite quarterbacks, and by no means am I happy Stafford is gone. However, Matthew Stafford did want out of Detroit. He did not want to play here anymore. He had given everything he had for the past 12 seasons and really wanted to go to a championship contender, which is why we traded traded him to Brad Holmes' former employer, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, when we were talking about Stafford's value on the open market, when we were talking about a Stafford trade value, there was a lot of people that didn't even think we would get a first-round pick out of Matthew Stafford. I thought we would. I thought we would get a first, a third, and maybe a late-round pick, or maybe something late in the next year's draft. However, Brad Holmes, being the wizard that he is, got a 2022 first-round pick, a 2023 first-round pick, a 2021 third-round pick, as well as new starting quarterback Jared Goff. Now, this is way more value than Matthew Stafford was probably worth. This was way more value than I expected, or really anybody expected, to get out of Matthew Stafford. This gives the Lions at a minimum 4 draft picks in the next 2 drafts. Of course, not counting this year's draft. So the 2022 and 2023 draft, they will have 4 first-round picks at a minimum, and it really sets the Lions up for long-term success. It really gives the Lions so much more flexibility, so much more ability to build up this roster, right? To build this roster around Jared Goff. They even restructured Jared Goff's contract, which I will include as part of the Matthew Stafford trade. So his contract isn't even that bad. They got 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a starting quarterback from a 32-year-old Matthew Stafford who's coming off a broken back, broken finger, whatever, all those injuries he had. He's coming off a super injury-prone season, a guy that, I love Matt Stafford. He played through those injuries as best he could, but he has shown injuries the past couple of seasons. He's played very well when he's on the field. However, he has shown some injury concerns. He has been off the field and has missed a little bit of time over the past 2 seasons. The 32-year-old quarterback has been replaced by a 26-year-old quarterback, a 2-time Pro Bowler, a guy that does not miss a lot of time or has not missed a significant amount of time. And with all the return that we got for Matt Stafford, setting us up for so much future success, it had to be the number 1 offseason move. But with that being the case, that is all I have for you guys today. Those are my top 5 offseason moves made by our Detroit Lions. What do you like? What would you change? And what other moves should have made the list? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd be very interested to hear what you guys think about it. But with that being the case, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, as I said, please consider liking the videos or subscribing to the channel. But with that being the case, that's all I got for you guys today. If there's Lions news or Lions rumors to come out in the next couple of days, of course, I will make a video letting everybody know. But until then, that is all I got for you guys today. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions!